Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. MC-Mura here, and in today's video we're gonna talk about a question that I have gotten over on my Discord channel, and I found it to be really interesting, and it was submitted by Drankido. The question was, what is the difference between early and late tiers list, obviously after a patch. So what Drankido is saying is kind of, directed towards what's going on right now, because a lot of content creators, a lot of players are just dropping out tiers list, right? The patch is not even a month old right now, and everyone is dropping out their tier list. And I even got asked to do one, but I think it is a bit too early to do so. And let me now show you something that's actually really interesting. As you see here, this is a tier list that was done by Tobanga TV. This is a collection of the Japanese players, the top Japanese players. They kinda come together and they agree on a tier list. The one you're seeing now is made just after the V-Shift patch have dropped, right? Dan was the only DLC character from the Season 5 that was available at the moment. And if you notice, there is some really interesting picks in this one, right? Like Minat is top tier, Abigail is top tier, right? It's pretty interesting. Sakura is way high up there, Poison not as much. So some interesting choices here. And now you're taking a look at another one that was made 1 year after, just at the end of that patch and just before our current patch hit, right? So this is probably the last couple of weeks before the final patch. And if you take a look at this, you will see that some placements are totally different. Where is the S tier Abigail? Like, he's now in the C tier. Where is the S tier Minat? Well, she is in the B tier. Sakura was A tier and now she is D tier, right? And you see where I'm going with this. The idea here is that tiers lists are pretty much opinions, right? And the opinions on the characters and their viability will change over time. So here is the question: what makes it that different, right? Because we do understand the game pretty well at this point. As Street Fighter 5 is an old game, the meta doesn't really change that much. We pretty much know what makes a character viable and what doesn't. And I think the main reason that early tiers list end up being very different from late tier list is that a lot of the changes are looked at in a vacuum, right? So for example, you can take a look at, if we're talking about the current balance changes, right? You can take a look at the changes for, say, Cammy and say, oh my god, they murdered Cammy. Now her standing medium kick is, more negative, and her crouching medium kick is more whiff punishable, and she have lower HP. Cam is dead, right? And this is a sentiment that you will see going around in the community. And a lot of people will say that Cammy is not the top tier anymore just because of it. But they are again just looking at the Cammy changes. Yes, she didn't get any buffs, but a lot of the characters that were giving her troubles, or a lot of the characters that she was fighting against, a lot of the other top tiers, got nerfed as well. So if you're talking about, say, a matchup like Cammy versus Rashid, right? Even though Cammy did have, now have a little bit more room for being whiff punished, Rashid have a completely different type of reversal, right? And say versus Urian. Urian was one of the characters that she used to fight a lot. Cammy versus Urian was one of the most common tournament matches. But now Urian doesn't even have an EXDP, so the dynamic of the matchup is completely different. Urian can't EX headbutt the dive kicks anymore, so things are totally different. Sometimes it is a case of a character like Luke dropping by, right? And now Luke is a new top tier around the town, and your viability as a character will somewhat be determined by how good you are at fighting Luke. Some characters who can fight him really well might be really strong, others might struggle. One other character that did get nerfed is Colleen, and one of the hardest matchups for Colleen was Guile. But now when you take a look at it, Guile, when you happen to block his booms, you build more meters. So now she have more EX vanity step, which will allow her to go through his fireballs. So the dynamics of the matchups change. You can't really fully judge the impact of the changes right away. It will take some time, right? It will take some time to see how they come into play, and how the system changes come into play, and how the changes to the others will impact the matchups overall. And even with all of that being said, you still have to remember that tiers lists are very much subjective. It's just the opinion of the person or people who are making that tiers list. It's never a be all end all. A lot of talks right now about Luke being by far better than everyone. We will have to see how that materialize into results, if Luke will indeed be the king of the game that's winning left and right, or will it be a case of season 1 Chun-Li that was super better than everyone but didn't really win that much. Or even last year, where Cammy was supposed to be way better than everyone, yet the results were somewhat competitive because Cammy won some tournaments, Urian won some tournament, Poisons won some tournament, Karen won, Guile won, so there was a lot of variance in the characters that were winning. You never really know. I guess we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like or a comment, it helps the channel so much. I will be leaving a link to the Patreon, Discord, Twitter and Twitch pages in the description below. Thank you very much for watching and stay safe.